We have Dr. Niranjan Mishra, Director of Public Health, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Odisha. And of course, the case study of Bhubaneswar as the 100% first 100% vaccinated city would also be showcased in this session. So I would request Shayantan to please join us on the dais. And as you understand, this is a digital program. Dr. Niranjan Mishra, Director, Public Health, Department of Health and Family Welfare, Government of Odisha, is joining us online. Shayantan is the moderator. He is Director, Healthcare Consulting, PwC India. With this, I request Shayantan to please take the session forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's always tough to continue when you have had such a elaborate and illustrious opening for that matter. So we'll try to do justice in terms of this very pertinent topic now, and especially in a pandemic scenario when you talk about vaccine and then vaccine economy. So we're trying to merge two things. One is the healthcare part of it, not even healthcare, is the social part of it, and the very critical part is the economics for it. So if you look at it, most of the economies from 2020, the uncertain time that we had, to when almost the end of 2021, where economies had their ups, the troughs, as we say, and the crest. So what has been at the center has been in terms of that, how have economies responded first to the pandemic scenario, the uncertainties that were there. And second is that as we as a community, as I would say, as from people who are there on the earth, try to look at it, how do we get out of this pandemic scenario? And obviously vaccination was one of the key, I would say, levers that we had in this journey. Looked at that, how does it not just unlock some of the things which got shut, the godforsaken word about unlock, shutdown, and all that was there. So vaccination was at the heart of it, as was that hope in every individuals, every communities, every countries at the in terms of them to say that how do we unlock. Now obviously there were the challenges. Obviously I'm not a medical practitioner to be talking about the challenges which every fraternity went in, and especially getting the vaccine up in such a short span of time and all. It was amazingly done and coordinated. The second thing was that in terms of how equitably we basically look at it being rolled out, being available to the masses, being available to, I would say, the community as a whole. Because if you think healthcare is not something which is to be locked for one economy, one sector, only the higher, like high income groups, that's something which is a very, I would say, misconception. Because as a health, if you see, if we are even one set of community being exposed, it exposes the entire world. And I think the latest variant is just a prime example of that. So in that scenario, where like what occurred and what happened for every economy was to say that how did they look to go about first arranging, or I would say getting into that mode of being or making the vaccine available, or not even available, I would say, even before when the trials were there, at how do I basically look to acquire and block the supplies for it. Second is that how do I have an equitable way of distribution. So for most of the developed countries, and I think even the others that took a cue, was in terms of saying that how did we basically get to the masses in the most efficient manner, in the most quick manner. And the third was, once we have done the initial bit in terms of doing that reach out, how do we sustain that? Because a vaccination program like this, and which is like, in fact, you would have read, and a commendable effort which was done by all the governments, and the government of India was no less, to roll this out. It's not a one-time activity. The way we foresee this is something which is a program which is going to be there, which is something which has to be sustained, which has to be something which will be need to be then looked at a very part of becoming a fundamental way of healthcare delivery, as we say. Like the way we go for annual health checkups, the way we go for some of our, I would say, like especially for kids in that sense, but for adults it was something different. In fact, a couple of weeks back, we were talking about adult immunization, and that was something which is on this day. And the most important thing, which is to say that how do governments then have the right economic might, I would say, allocated for this? So obviously we'll be talking in terms of what has been done by some of the states specifically, and we'll take that as a case study and on that matter. So Dr. Mishra will be talking about that. But the key part of it is not just about the initial part of it, that having said that, okay, we have doled out the vaccination for so many of our population has been done. But how do we make it a sustainable thing? And most importantly, how do we ensure that the economies, which is basically every country has its finite resources, how do we basically have that allocated for it? Because at the heart of it is that a vaccination, one is what I mentioned about from a health point of view, that it's almost a must. I don't think anyone in this room would basically disagree with that. But second is that how do I, if I'm a country or a community which is not so, I would say, economically fortunate, how do I still ensure that my population, my citizens have access to that? And I was reading this report which said that for any of the high income countries, the difference, or which is the extra investment they needed to make was range of 0.5%. But for any of the other low income countries, it was a jump of 56% on their GDP they needed to do just to basically vaccinate the population. Now that number is humongous. Now, on one hand, we have inequity, but the other hand, does this vaccine program expand or basically make the inequity even more? That's the other question on hand. And thirdly is that how do we ensure that with this inequities in mind, how do we basically pool our resources? Because there have been some of the countries which have gone for the booster doses now. But on the other hand, we still have only 1% of the low-income countries which are yet to, I would say, vaccinate. It's like 1% of their population has just got the first dose of vaccine. It's almost two ends of the spectrum out there. So with that, I think just initial thoughts. I will just try to open the session up. Obviously, we'll try to keep that. And Dr. Niranjan Mishra, thank you. Thanks so much for joining us. So we would like to hear from you and how it's being really be done at your end, and all yours, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sayantan. Am I audible? So, it is really is a very good afternoon to all there with a lot of good wishes from Odisha. It is a pleasure talking to a galaxy of stars there in the initial session, starting from economists to entrepreneurs to hospital owners, corporate houses, and what I must compliment Dr. Alok Rai where he left that it is a rare opportunity of a doctor being called to talk to economists, economic planners, and entrepreneurs. And thanks again to a small virus that has brought all these into center stage. The center stage of what the virus has done is now, in a afterthought, it has brought the public health into the center stage of debate. It has brought the health as a guiding parameter for the economic planning. Now, it has again given chance for innovative healthcare solutions. And obviously, there is a lot of interest in vaccine technology, vaccine development, distribution, planning, and all related to vaccine. As you all know, when this pandemic started, and to deal with the pandemic is a huge catastrophe for the whole of the globe, and to deal with, we have this proven strategy of testing, tracking, treatment, tikakaran, and obviously the COVID appropriate behavior. This is the proven five-pronged strategy to deal with the situation at present. And the last two, that is the vaccination and the COVID appropriate behavior, which is again a method of social vaccination, are the two preventive steps we can take And at present, I believe it is not only preventive, this is a measure to tackle the situation at present and to bring down the pandemic to a stage where it is no more a threat to the community. Uh, so in this context, I will be talking a little bit regarding the vaccine as a whole. This pandemic is a new experience for the vaccines, because I think this is one of the time when we are experiencing development of vaccine, then their trial, the rollout, they're dealing with their equitable distribution and dealing with vaccine hesitancy with a very amazing speed to take it to a stage where we can use this instrument as a method of tackling this pandemic and bringing down its catastrophic effects. And in all these efforts, I think the scientists at large and the vaccine manufacturers and the planners as a whole has contributed many ways to this. I will be sharing some of my thoughts in this regard and my experience from Bhubaneswar, which has almost the first city to complete a vaccination, the 100% vaccination at the earliest. Is my slides visible, sir? Mr. Sayantan, is my slides visible?
Yeah, we can see it. We can see the slide.
So I just start with a very old quote from 1998 to emphasize the importance of the vaccine. See this, the impact of vaccination on the health of the world's people is hard to exaggerate. With the exception of safe water, no other modality has had such a major effect on the mortality reduction and population growth. Almost the vaccines as a whole has reduced nearly 6 million deaths, preventing this vaccine treatable diseases. Is it changing, sir? Mr. Sayantan, is it changing?
Yes, it's changing.
Yes, yes. So this is the challenge is there is still much to be done to ensure the financing, the provision, equitable distribution, and administration of the vaccines to all the population, in particular those which are difficult to reach, including those skeptical about their protective values, and those living in civil disruption and other hard to penetrate areas. See what has happened. A small little thing can give its importance. Now see, the African countries has a penetration of vaccines coverage of less than 20% as a whole. And see what has happened, that a new mutant with nearly 50 mutations has arose out of that place. Because of this, we believe one of the reasons is this less vaccine penetration, so that these variants could develop there, and now within a span of about 20 days has engulfed about 70 countries in the world. So what is necessary is making these vaccines available to the globe as a whole, to take forward, to make them available, particularly in the context of our country, to see that they are available to the people equitably and covering the whole population there. This is there is no double speak on this, that the 20th century is one of the major evolutions is development vaccines, and the vaccine technology has grown in lumps and bounds from live attenuated vaccines to now we have RNA, DNA based technology to develop vaccines. This I am telling is because of simple reason that there are questions raised that how in a very short time this vaccine is developed. Now, you know that you see the speed with which the vaccines came. By 8th of April 2020, the first case in India appeared in March, and by 8th of April 2020, there are 73 vaccine candidates under preclinical investigation. Of these, 6 were in phase 1 or phase 2 trial, and 1 was in phase 2 and 3 trial by 28th of May. See the rapidness by which they responded. And they demonstrate the ability to harness existing technology, including RNA vaccine platform, DNA vaccine platform, and the recombinant vector vaccine platform. All are used, for which now we have nearly 28 approved vaccine covering about 194 countries, and the WHO has given emergency use license to about 8 vaccines. This is again, what is the impact of this pandemic as a whole? This is from one of the UN's framework of the immediate socio-economic response to COVID. It warns that the COVID-19 pandemic is far more than a health crisis. It is affecting societies and economies at their core. While the impact of the pandemic will vary from country to country, it will most likely increase poverty and inequalities at a global scale, making achievement of sustainable development goal even more urgent. So that is the basis on which we have to deal with the vaccines, and as far as dealing with this pandemic is concerned, and putting the vaccine at the forefront of managing them from the time to now going ahead. So this is a little bit of impact what we people have seen. It is a global suffering and fear, the whole pandemic. There are large migration, there are shutdowns and lockdowns. You have all experienced this. There is nothing to exaggerate, but there are travel restrictions, there is impact on production, there is gross reduction in demand in most sectors. Then development territory in long term are affected in different countries, and obviously there is a pressure on expenditure on public health preparedness, particularly the emergency COVID response. This took a major chunk of the funds available. And if you do the mapping area of the funds, there are anyway core areas where all the focus can be diverted to the most COVID-19 vulnerable sectors. The industry knows this. There are again some COVID resilient industries also they maintain. The manpower availability was a big issue. Mobility transport was an issue, now has been taken care of. The economic shift is visible, and we have to now setting priorities and changing the planning to all these core areas. Then nothing much to tell about the vaccine benefits. They are all proved one. I have told you earlier what is necessary for this type of pandemics to be contained is to develop a hard immunity of the magnitude of about 85 to 90%, and a vaccine-induced hard immunity is a very, very effective measure to control the rapidity of spread and the mutation of the virus. And obviously, this brings down the transmission, the mutation rate, and obviously it puts a sense of confidence among people that I am vaccinated and safe from disease and death. Socioeconomic impacts are more assessed by you. These are all again have the challenge the equitable healthcare system. There is a debate in the previous session about this combined healthcare and inclusive growth, and now because of the pandemic, the debate is now shifting in this direction of combined healthcare and inclusive growth. So all these vaccine is going obviously to some way or other changing the economic impact if they will be effective and they will be equally adaptive to the situation. Not going much to this. Now I shall go to what is our experience in Odisha. Odisha, you know, is a, one of your neighbors, has again very, very adept in dealing with natural calamities. We are adept in dealing with the cyclones and all. And obviously, we have taken it in that way to deal with the situation. And as you know that in our state, the whole gamut of the testing, the tracking, the transportation, the treatment, and providing services all have been taken care by the state. It is almost made everything free, even from hiring to from private COVID hospitals to providing drugs like tocilizumab, like Tasirimab, and all these are made available free of cost, including all latest technologies. Though these are almost at the center stage of states' priorities in the period in the last 1.5 years of managing this. This is the group that is the NECBAG that was almost deciding the policy on the privatization of population groups and inventory management and the distribution of vaccines, which vaccine has to be rolled out, and how to track the vaccination procedure and the logistic management. So this is how it is all planned at different levels. At the national level, it was NECBAG. At the state level, that state steering committee, then state task force, and state committees, then district level district task force on the chairman civil collector, then urban task force on the municipal commissioners and district control rooms. So this is how we planned and went ahead. And as you all know that in all different states, it was prioritized to be rolled out in phases to different groups. It was initially healthcare workers, then frontline workers, and then a population above 60 with comorbidity, and later shifted to all 45 and above, and 18 and above. This is a little bit of this deadline when all these started from January 16th to now. We have gone to a stage of Har Ghar Dastak. Now vaccine is available at the doorstep. Now these are the healthcare categories that were covered, and the frontline workers we have covered, and naturally and you should have a robust cold chain management system in place to carry forward the vaccine to the different districts and sub-district levels. I will not be deliberating on these details, but these are the vaccines available in our country, and majority we are dealing with at the government sector in our state is Covishield and Covaxin. Covaxin we are initially concentrated to the Bhubaneswar, and we have now shifted Covaxin to some of the again urban areas. But initially the vaccination in Bhubaneswar was with Covaxin that was developed by Bharat Biotech. You are all familiar with this dose schedule, and these are a little bit regarding these two vaccines that are available. We are familiar with these. I must not repeat. So these are all on the national website. The contraindications and where to be deferred, and so this is regarding the vaccine population in Odisha. The total you have a population of 4 crore 48 lakhs. Out of them, 8 years to 44 are 1 crore 97 lakhs, and 45 years to 49 are 75 lakhs, and 60 years above are 52 lakhs. The total target of 8 years and above comes around 3 crore 25 lakhs. So this is the progress of vaccination in our state till date. We are steadily going ahead with a plan to cover at least one shot vaccination covering the whole of state by end of December. So this is a little bit the achievement for the state versus the whole of India. Bhubaneswar is the first city in India to achieve about 100% fast dose vaccination. The coverage by September. So from the national scenario to go to a little bit of the scenario of Bhubaneswar, our capital city. Bhubaneswar achieved the milestone after it became the first city to achieve 100% COVID-19 vaccination, including the nearly 9 lakh people who are above 18 years of age by 1st of August, first city to do so. The city started vaccinating its frontline and healthcare workers from January 2021 onwards. People aged about 45 started receiving their vaccine shots from April 2021, while those above 18 began getting their jabs in May this year. The vaccination in the city was done in phased manner, as I have told you earlier, categorically selecting groups of people and within short period of time of 6 months, more than so this is how the planning was done. There was about 30 urban primary health centers and community health centers who were utilized as static vaccine centers. We had 15 mobile vaccine centers. They are and 10 drive-in vaccination centers. For a person can drive in with his vehicle and get a jab and go on. Special vehicle with vaccination team were deployed for reaching the vulnerable section of the population. On-call vaccination, pick-up and drop-off service were undertaken through registration at the BMC's call center, that is 1929, and beneficiaries were brought to the nearer to home vaccination site in BMC vehicle. Then vaccination team were deployed for vaccination for bedridden people, participants, inmates of jail, and old age homes, etc., to give a 100% coverage. Additionally, 4 special session sites were created with 2 vaccination teams at each center for mass vaccination covering community at trees. So this is with the help of the Auto Association, the Ola and Uber Drivers Association, the Hotel and Restaurant Association, Industries Association, FICCI, RBI, and the AG Office. They are office associations and bar association, market association, that are all taken into confidence, and these additional session sites were created at these places. To cover the whole area. Extensive IEC was a part undertaken by BMC with Bhubaneswar Municipal Corporation for awareness and mobilization of beneficiaries for vaccination, such as awareness through meetings, more of interpersonal communication for resident welfare associations, associations like auto market associations, and regular updates and news in social, print media, and local radios, and obviously door-to-door reached by ward officers and volunteers. So this resulted by 14th December this year, almost the coverage is, as per this, we have covered almost more than 100% of the population. This is a little bit about our achievement at Bhubaneswar, particularly almost going ahead of the target. This is because of this rapid pace of vaccination. Large number of people from the perimeter area and the suburban areas, they prefer to get vaccinated at the BMC. Some of the statistical data, I will not go on elaborating them, but little bit about breakthrough vaccination. That was a concern because in last few months, Bhubaneswar was reporting around 100 cases daily. Some of them are breakthrough cases. But the total, the breakthrough as per definition is 14 days after the second dose, and the breakthrough vaccination rate at Bhubaneswar is around 0.13 at par with other data available. So majority of them are not getting hospitalized, and the symptoms are mild. And we are not getting, even some of them have been sent for whole genome sequencing to study the change. And in Odisha, till today, the dominant variant is Delta. Now, under Dastak Tikakaran Abhiyan, and teams are moving out through our ASA, the volunteers moving out door to door for house to house search and identify both the first and second dose dropout. There is the involvement of the PRA members, local peer leaders, and different welfare associations for these. And still, in spite of our wider vaccination rate, we still emphasizing these to avoid even a single dropout. There are a small group of vaccine hesitant people that we have to persuade them to get it covered. So this is the horror stuff in the whole of the state. This is a little bit of achievement as far as Odisha is concerned. So our target is for the whole state of Odisha. Our target is to have this 100% fast dose vaccination by December 2021. Vaccination of all beneficiaries due for second dose to be covered by that time. Vaccination of children and adolescents. Strict adherence to COVID appropriate wear is obviously the priority, and booster dose vaccination as per NECVAC guideline. We are waiting for the NECVAC guideline in this regard. So this is a little bit regarding our experience in Bhubaneswar, but obviously we are giving a huge emphasis on vaccination, particularly so because of this the anticipated third wave, rather because of the Omicron, and though data is not available whether the immunological escape of this variant and its impact of vaccination on this variant is still not known, but we are sure this will give some protection as far as the symptoms and mortality and morbidity are concerned. So this is regarding our experience at Bhubaneswar. Obviously, as far as vaccine economy is concerned, I don't see that this is giving much a boost to the state as a whole. But if you carry forward the vaccination for covering 100% population of the state with effective measures and our experience dealing with the first and second wave, we are sure that we will be dealing with the third wave if it comes. And obviously, being covering a whole large population, we will be better equipped and better prepared for the time to come. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you again for organization for calling me. And obviously, we share common border and boundaries with West Bengal, and I have all the good wishes for the people of Bengal at large from the land of Lord Jagannath. Thank you all.
Thanks, Dr. Mishra. In fact, it was quite a enlightening and a quite, I would say, extensive presentation. And some things, in fact, when as I wrap up the things, which I basically would like to highlight and which is very interesting, is that vaccination is not just about doling it out, but also making how innovative. Now, when you look at 100% coverage, the way you basically looked out some of the getting some of the hotels or the Olas and the Ubers, so that was innovation, because it did not basically be the standard way of looking at the distribution model. Second is the inclusive thing which you spoke about. It's not just about one strata of the economy or one strata of the society to be done. Really commendable job for that. And third is very importantly, because vaccination, 100% vaccination for a city and then the peripheral, literally pulls the economy back on track. Like as India, we are geared up for that 9.5% growth target. But I think overall, I think this just sets the precedent of how to go about this program in a equitable, in a I would say socially responsible manner, which does not discriminate anyone based on any of the caste, creed, or the economic strata for that matter. That's a very key important learning. So as a group, I think we learned a lot, and thanks Dr. Mishra once again for enlightening all of us in terms of how this vaccine economy and how it is being done in an equitable manner. Really appreciate that, and I'm sure that as a group we would have learned a lot as well from your experience. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
I take this opportunity to thank my friend Dr. Alok Rai there for calling me to talk to such a distinguished gathering there. Thank you all.
Thanks, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We would request ACM Arup Raha to please present memento to Mr. Shantan Chatterjee. So we'll move on quickly to the next session. My colleagues in the AV team, you may change over for the